Hey there, and welcome to The Wisdom of Sex, the podcast where we discuss love, relationships, and all things intimacy. I'm your host, Dr. Heather Wisdom. Thank you for joining me today. I know there are plenty of podcasts about relationships and intimacy, and you chose this one. So thank you so much. And thank you to all those who have subscribed and given me 5 stars. It helps so much. It's hard work and a slow go to start a podcast. Well, enough of that. You're not here to listen to me pour out my appreciation. You're here to hear the episode. So without further delay, today we're tackling one of the toughest topics in any relationship, infidelity. We'll explore why it happens, how to heal from it, and how to rebuild trust. I'll be referencing the book When You're the One Who Cheats by Tammy Nelson, my girl crush and expert sex therapist. So let's not waste any time, get cozy on the couch, and let's get into it. Infidelity is one of the most devastating experiences that can happen in a relationship, and understanding the why behind it is the first step in healing. Dr. Tammy Nelson points out that infidelity isn't just about someone being a bad person or a relationship being doomed. When we talk about infidelity, it's essential to recognize that betrayal isn't just one thing. There are 3 distinct parts of betrayal: emotional cheating, physical cheating, and lying. Each one can damage trust in different ways. First up, let's talk about emotional cheating. Emotional betrayal is when someone forms a deep emotional connection with someone outside the relationship. This type of cheating can feel even more painful than physical infidelity because it taps into feelings of intimacy, trust, and connection. So, what does emotional cheating look like? Well, it could be sharing your deepest thoughts, dreams, or insecurities with someone else, essentially giving them access to parts of you that should be reserved for your partner. Think of finding an old friend on Facebook and opening up to them. It can start innocently, but over time, emotional boundaries get blurred, leading to feelings of betrayal. Emotional infidelity is painful because it shakes the foundation of trust. When your partner turns to someone else for the emotional support you thought was shared exclusively with you, it can feel like your connection is no longer special. And sometimes emotional affairs are more subtle, making them harder to detect and confront. Now let's move on to physical cheating, what most people think of when they hear the word infidelity. Physical cheating involves engaging in sexual acts with someone outside the relationship. Unlike emotional cheating, which is about connection and intimacy, physical cheating is typically about physical attraction, desire, and gratification. For many, physical betrayal feels like the ultimate violation of the relationship, especially if you believe you had a monogamous agreement. The idea that your partner has been intimate with someone else can trigger feelings of inadequacy, anger, and hurt. It forces you to question not only the relationship, but your own sense of worth. The impact of physical infidelity is not just about the act itself. Dr. Nelson writes, "It's about the rupture of exclusivity, the promise that the physical part of your relationship was something only the 2 of you shared. Finally, lying and deception, often the most damaging aspect of infidelity. Even if emotional or physical cheating didn't occur, the fact that your partner has been dishonest or kept secrets can break trust just as deeply. Lying involves consciously hiding actions, feelings, or even thoughts from your partner. And this is where things get complicated. Sometimes the lies are more hurtful than the cheating itself. When you lie to your partner, you manipulate their perception of reality. You control the narrative, and that betrayal of truth can make someone feel like their whole relationship was built on lies. In Tammy Nelson's book, she emphasizes that the lies often cut deeper than the cheating. Lying fractures the very core of the relationship because it makes your partner question everything: what was real, what wasn't, and what else might be hidden. As humans, we depend on trust to feel safe and secure in our relationships. When that trust is broken, the damage is far reaching, and it takes a long time to repair. So, how do you heal from emotional or physical cheating and lying? Each type of betrayal affects a relationship differently, and healing from them requires a different approach. You may have experienced 1, 2, or all 3. To recover from emotional cheating, partners need to rebuild that emotional connection. This requires open communication, understanding where things went wrong, and most importantly, reestablishing those emotional boundaries that were crossed. Physical infidelity requires rebuilding trust in terms of physical and sexual boundaries. If both partners are willing, this can involve gradually reintroducing intimacy in ways that feel safe and comfortable while consistently checking in with each other emotionally. Rebuilding trust after lies is a long road. It requires not just transparency from the partner who lied, but also a commitment to honesty moving forward. Regular, open communication about feelings, actions, and intentions is essential for slowly rebuilding trust. I'll go over some physical exercises and techniques in a bit. But regardless of whether you're the one who cheated or the one who was cheated on, the emotional fallout is intense. If you're the one who was cheated on, you're probably feeling an avalanche of emotions: confusion, hurt, anger. You might even question your own self worth. Healing begins with acknowledging and validating your emotions. And this is going to sound bad, and you may hate what I'm about to say, but here it is. When betrayal happens, you have to look at yourself, your actions, and your role in the relationship to understand what part you may have played in it. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about blaming yourself or justifying the betrayal. It's about self reflection. Relationships are a complex dance. And when something as painful as betrayal happens, you must consider every angle, including your own actions. Did you contribute in some way to a communication breakdown? Were there unspoken needs or unresolved issues left to fester? Often, betrayals stem from underlying unmet needs or emotional disconnects on both sides. By examining what you may have overlooked or how you might have unintentionally drifted, you can better understand the dynamics that led to the breach of trust. This introspection doesn't excuse the betrayal, but empowers us to see the full picture. It's a chance to grow and to understand not only how you can heal, but also how to prevent similar issues in the future. And while it's uncomfortable, taking an honest look inward helps your own journey and choices, building resilience and a stronger sense of self. Let me give you an example. I have a couple who came to me after the husband cheated. They had been together for almost 15 years and had 5 children. For the past few years, the wife has been busy getting her master's degree, working full time, and doing lots of after school kids' activities. When she did have a moment, she occupied herself with checking emails and scrolling social media. Her husband described her as distant. I would come home from work, say hi, and she would barely acknowledge me. She would be staring at her phone and wouldn't even look up to greet me. So I just went to the garage and dinked around. The wife described her husband as non-communicative. He never listens. When I try to talk to him, he doesn't respond. The only time we do talk, it's about the kids, their schedule, and what baseball or track meet we have for the weekend. We have no connection. After a few sessions, the wife could see how they drifted apart. She saw how her husband felt alone and distant from her, which contributed to his seeking out an old girlfriend on Facebook. It started out as an emotional affair. He found someone who listened to him, made him feel like a priority, and was there when he wanted to talk. He was able to open up to her about his wife and how it felt like she was too busy for him. 6 months into this emotional affair, the wife and he got into a fight about something unrelated, and he left the house to stay at a hotel. This is when the affair happened. He called the woman, and she was quick to come over and comfort him. They had never met in person prior to this moment, other than high school, of course. After one night at the hotel, he went home. He says he felt so ashamed and wanted to tell his wife, but couldn't find the right way or time to do it. He said he didn't want to hurt her. And this is what I hear a lot: the betrayer not wanting to hurt the other. The wife explains that they talked about the fight when he came home. He didn't say anything about the affair. She said, "We hugged, I cried, then had amazing sex. For weeks, we had the best sex we had had in years. It felt weird, though, like something came over him." The husband said, "I just wanted to feel close to her again. I felt like we could reconnect if sex wasn't so routine, but it didn't work. She was still on her phone, and I was still talking to the other woman." Then it happened. While the husband was in the shower, his phone received a text, and the wife could see the screen and text preview. She unlocked the phone, read the message, and then saw the other messages. He was caught. Through our sessions, they both took accountability. She realized she had been part of the problem. She wasn't there for him, and he wasn't there for her in ways they needed. We made a plan, and they took the necessary steps to make each other a priority again, rebuild trust, move forward with their lives together, and grieve their old relationship. But they didn't rush this process. They needed to grieve their old relationship. They had to build a new relationship, and this grief takes time. It's not about pretending the hurt didn't happen. Rather, it's about freeing yourself from that grip of resentment. The partner who strayed should work to demonstrate genuine remorse and a commitment to rebuilding trust, while the betrayed partner should try to move towards forgiving in their own time and terms. Healing from infidelity doesn't happen overnight. Give yourselves permission to grieve individually and together. Take it one day at a time and know that setbacks are normal. They don't mean the relationship is failing. Remember that grieving together means showing up for each other, even if you're both hurting. Supporting one another through this pain can lead to a deeper sense of empathy and connection. Journaling or therapy, or simply talking to someone you trust can be helpful. On the other side, if you're the one who cheated, there's likely a lot of guilt and shame. Nelson explains that healing for the cheater involves self-forgiveness. She writes, "You have to own your actions, but don't get stuck in shame that prevents growth." Both partners need to grieve after infidelity. The one betrayed is mourning the loss of trust and security, while the cheater may be grieving the loss of a secret life, someone they grew to care about, or the fantasy of the affair. Both need space to process their grief, and if there's hope of moving forward, it's important to acknowledge that grief together. Trust is the bedrock of any relationship. Rebuilding it after infidelity is not easy. Honesty is non-negotiable. For the partner who cheated, this means being transparent about your actions moving forward. It doesn't necessarily mean reliving every painful detail, but it does mean being prepared to answer tough questions, checking in regularly, and working to rebuild a sense of safety and security in the relationship. However, it's also important to recognize that some questions might be more harmful than helpful. If your partner asks for explicit details, such as the specifics of physical intimacy with the other person, it's okay to set boundaries around these discussions. Studies and relationship therapists consistently emphasize that while openness is critical, talking about intimate, graphic details often worsens the pain and may create images that are hard to move past. In situations like these, it's more constructive to focus on questions that lead to understanding rather than re-traumatization, shifting the focus to questions like, what led to the affair? Or, how can we ensure this never happens again? Provides context, insight, and a path forward. This honesty supports healing without anchoring you both in unnecessary or hurtful details. The goal of honesty in this phase is to create an environment of openness and trust where both partners feel heard and understood. Setting respectful boundaries around painful details is not hiding, but rather it's protecting the healing process, helping both partners focus on what truly matters in rebuilding trust and creating a healthier, more connected relationship. Both partners need to agree on what's acceptable moving forward. Maybe it means cutting off contact with the person you had an affair with or burning the bridges. This can be difficult if it's someone you work with. It may mean not working as close to them or changing departments. It may also mean blocking them on social media and cell phones. Burning the bridges is a way to prevent any contact. You may have to be more open about where you're going and who you're with. Your social apps may be open to your partner for a time. It may feel like an invasion of privacy, but this is how we heal and move forward. Setting clear boundaries helps reestablish trust and show commitment. Patience is key here. Healing takes time, and rebuilding trust is not an overnight process. The betrayed partner might need reassurance, even if it feels repetitive. Consistent actions and open communication are the bricks that rebuild trust. Recommit to each other every day. Small gestures, reassurances, and acts of trustworthiness can be the building blocks for a stronger bond. Your partner may need reassurance daily, and I mean both partners here. The one cheated on for obvious reasons, and it may seem redundant, but giving constant, I love you, I only want you, and saying, I'm sorry and I regret what happened will go a long way. And ensure it is said in a meaningful, genuine, and honest way. It's not just part of the healing playbook. Don't be surprised if your partner says something like, I hear you saying that, but I don't believe you, or are you really sorry? Or if you were sorry, you wouldn't have kept doing it. And the big one, what's different now? This last question is fair to ask and is one that should be asked. You may not know how to answer this question yet, and saying things like, I don't know, I realize I love you, not her, him, them, or I'll stop drinking, may come across as hollow or not genuine. Don't make promises that are unrealistic or unobtainable. I say this because I have so many couples say, I was drunk when I cheated. If I wasn't drunk, it wouldn't have happened. So they promise to stop drinking altogether. But is this realistic? You need to make reasonable plans and promises to move forward. Next, let's talk about sex after infidelity. I have had partners tell me that sex was better during the affair when they didn't know about the affair, that is. And it was actually a tip off for one woman. She told me she knew something was off because, quote, he wanted to have sex more often and in different ways. When she finally confronted him, he admitted to having an affair with a coworker's wife. Sex after an affair can be one of the hardest parts to navigate. Once trust is broken, intimacy can feel, well, complicated and quite frankly disgusting to some. The thought of having sex with someone who had sex with that person can just seem not okay. Getting back into the bedroom is part of the healing process, but it's important not to rush into it just for the sake of normalizing things. Start slow, non sexual physical affection, like holding hands or cuddling, can help ease back into intimacy. Sex post affair often comes with a mix of emotions. It's common for the betrayed partner to feel triggered during intimacy, which is why patience and understanding are key. Both partners need to be vulnerable and open, allowing the emotional connection to be prioritized over intimacy. And yet, some jump right back in and become hypersexual. And again, some say sex is better during and after the affair, or more frequent. This can be due to one partner wanting to make up for what they did, like my client I talked about before, or the other partner wanting to show their partner that they are good in bed and excited and show them what they missed. Again, I know I've said it before and I'll say it again. Take your time. Jumping back into bed right away may not be best for you and your partner. Take the time to reconnect emotionally before focusing on physical intimacy. Start by rebuilding emotional closeness through quality time, small acts of kindness, and open discussions about your feelings and needs. As trust and feeling safe with your partner is restored, physical intimacy can follow naturally. So, where do you go from here? The road after infidelity is anything but straight, but it is possible to come out stronger. If both partners are committed to rebuilding, it's about creating a new relationship. Not just trying to return to the way things were, but building something stronger, with deeper communication, more honesty, and greater intimacy. Create a relationship agreement, if you will. Think of Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory. What are your expectations? I provide a worksheet for my clients to help them create this agreement. On this worksheet, I have the 5 love languages across the top. And if you're not familiar with the 5 love languages, let me briefly explain. The 5 love languages are gift buying, quality time, acts of service, touchy feeling, and this isn't sex, and words of affirmation. I'll go over those a little bit more in a second. But essentially, everyone primarily speaks one of these, and that is how they perceive love. For instance, maybe your partner feels love when you tell them, I love you, or you look nice today. These would be words of affirmation, or just spending quality time with them is how they perceive love. If you're not speaking their language, you may as well be speaking Chinese to them when you speak Spanish. So I have these 5 topics on the worksheet, but I also add 4 more because although relationships can grow and thrive with the 5, there are 4 that can destroy a marriage or relationship, and those are faith if religion is important to you or your partner. Parenting. Have you decided on having kids or not? If so, how many? Finances. Who is going to pay what bills? And lastly, intimacy or sex. How often do you want to do it? How do you want to do it? Or are you unwilling to do certain things? So I give this worksheet to couples. Their job is to take a week and fill out their expectations of their partner. And this doesn't have to be their current partner. It could be their perfect partner and what their expectations of that person would be. After a week, the couple makes a date night with no distractions, puts the phones away and the TV off, and spends the evening talking and compromising on the expectations. So why do I bring this up for infidelity? Well, we tend to have a lot of implicit expectations when we start a relationship. We just trust that our partners won't cheat on us. But what does that even mean? What does it mean to cheat? Is watching porn cheating? Is going to a strip club cheating? Well, for some, the answer is yes, while others don't care. So on this worksheet, make sure you are detailing out things, or not even on this worksheet, but in your conversations, talk about what it means to cheat, what you are willing to accept, and what you are not willing to accept. Again, it's those boundaries, right? Oh, and if you want the worksheet, I'll put it on my website for you to download and use. I also have a link to Dr. Nelson's books and the 5 love languages if you'd like to buy those. The path forward after infidelity may not always be together, it may be apart. Infidelity can be a wake-up call that a relationship has reached its end, and that's okay. Healing doesn't always mean staying together. Some people just have that zero tolerance mentality. If you ever cheat, it's over. Holding those strong, healthy boundaries. Infidelity can clearly indicate incompatibility, differing values, or unmet needs within the relationship. While some couples find ways to work through these differences, others recognize personal deal breakers and are able to set boundaries for future partnerships. In some cases, ending a relationship may be the healthiest choice for both partners. Infidelity can create lasting emotional wounds and significantly impact self-esteem, trust, and feelings of safety in the relationship. It's a major blow to one's self-worth that can impact how a person sees themselves. Staying in the relationship might unintentionally reinforce feelings of inadequacy, especially if one partner feels they are forgiving something that goes against everything they believe, their morals, and compromises their values. The emotional toll of constantly questioning or feeling anxious about their partner's actions can be overwhelming. The relationship becomes a place where insecurity and distrust become central themes instead of a loving one. Ending the relationship can empower the betrayed partner to focus on self-respect and healing, helping them rebuild their self-image without the weight of the betrayal lingering in their life. Sometimes the healthiest choice is to let go of the relationship to avoid constantly seeing the person or being in the environment that caused so much pain. While staying together after infidelity is possible for some couples, choosing to end the relationship may provide a healthier path forward. This choice allows for healing, rebuilding, and moving on without betrayal overshadowing the relationship. All right, let's move on and wrap this session up as our time is coming to an end. Some key points to remember: if you're the one who cheated, take responsibility, no excuses. There may be reasons behind it, but it's not an excuse. You know the difference between right and wrong. Be patient and allow your partner to process their emotions. Understand why it happened and prevent it in the future. If you've been cheated on, take time to process. Don't rush into forgive and forget. Set clear boundaries about what you need moving forward. If you choose to stay, remember that trust takes time. Infidelity is a painful experience that no one wants to face, but it also brings an opportunity for growth, reflection, and transformation. Whether you're working to rebuild your relationship or choosing a new path on your own, remember that healing is possible. Take things one step at a time and don't rush the process. Trust, self-respect, and connection take time to restore. Well, our time is up for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed your time on the couch. If you did, please share this episode and leave a review. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to The Wisdom of Sex for more conversations about love, relationships, and intimacy. You can reach out with questions or connect further at drheatherwisdom.com or follow me on social media. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your stories. And if you have an idea for an episode, please let me know. This podcast is about you and what you want to hear. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and stay wise. Take care.